Hey, fifth grade, for Monday's poetry lesson, we're going to be reading more poems about dogs and cats. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that assignment, and then I'm going to click View Assignment. Remember, that's really important because it takes me to the whole assignment. I can see what I'm responsible for doing and turning in, and then I can see what other resources have been added here. So the first step is to, of course, watch this video lesson, which again, hopefully you found that. It's down here. That's the only resource that I've included for you. And then in today's poems, two dog lovers and a cat lover use figurative language to tell us about their pets. They write about a dog in bed, a cat on the prowl, and a black lab in the nighttime, as if there's something other than dogs or cats, in order to show us the essential natures of their pets as well as their own feelings. And it works beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and click on today's poems, and I'm going to read those out loud to you. You can see that today's poems are positioned a little differently on the page. You guys are used to seeing them in portrait. This is landscape so that they can all fit on one page. So the first poem that I'm going to read you is Dog in Bed. It's written by Joyce Sidman. I think there's a typo here, and I will go in and fix that before I push it out to you guys. Nose tucked under tail, you are a warm, furred planet, centered in my bed. All night I orbit, tangle-limbed, in the slim space allotted to me. If I accidentally bump you from your sleep, you shift, groan, drape your chin on my hip. Oh, that languid movie star drape. I can never resist it, digging my fingers into your fur, kneading. And this is like the kneading of like dough. So she's petting the dog. I wonder, how do you dream? What do you adore? Why should your black silk ears feel like happiness? This is how it is with love. Once invited, it steps in gently, circles twice, and takes up as much space as you will give it. Now I'm going to read Primetime to you. Through the black, my midnight marauder lurks, darts, strolls idly, slinks through moonstruck patches into darkness, to the beat of his Pink Panther soundtrack. He is the white-whiskered James Bond, tuxedoed to the max. His inky suit glints with moonshine, transforms his coat to bright obsidian. Glowing green orbs scour the world. He creeps while he can. In morning, his adventures cease. He'll rest his handsome face in manicured paws, while the missions of nighttime pass through his dreams, until pitch blackness spreads itself through the air again, and he disappears into dark. And I'm going to read our last poem, A Reason for Black. Remember, A Dog in Bed was, of course, about a dog. Primetime was about a cat. And then this last poem, A Reason for Black, is about a black lab at nighttime. His tail wags furiously through the night, black against black. The silky, inky appendage flits in and out of vision. This is his tail that he's describing. An ocean of soft self. I love the black. The click of claws against tar bounces around my pitched surroundings, sparking light in the dark. I love the black. Not deep night that captures with its cold embrace. I love the black sheen of glossy fur. I love his black like sweet licorice, the shiny polish on the shoe, the velvet curtain that separates the audience from the actors. I love the black. All right, so first, before I get to what I would like for you to analyze for, I just want to point out there are a lot of metaphors, personification, and similes in these poems. Metaphors are where a poet or a writer compares two things that would normally not be compared in order for us to understand something about the other thing. So a metaphor is a comparison of two unlike things by saying one thing is another. So if I look at Dog in Bed, if you look right here, it says, "You are a warm furred planet." This is a metaphor, and what the poet is comparing is her dog to a planet. Now, those are not normally two things that you would think would be used to compare each other. So, what she's saying by making this metaphor is that the dog, when it gets into her bed, it plants itself in the middle of the bed and she is left to orbit the space around it. So she's able to say a whole lot more with that metaphor than she would be, you know, by explaining it all to you. Um, it puts an image in your mind and you get the idea without a whole bunch of words that would bog down or disrupt the flow of the poem. So I'm going to go ahead and add a comment here for you guys to see. You can see that I did that using the add comment button and it pops up over here. I'm going to say this is a metaphor and it is comparing her dog to a planet. It paints a vivid image of what sleeping with her dog is like. And then I'm going to comment. So that's one of the things you're going to be looking for today is metaphors. The other thing that I want to point out is something we've talked about in class before is personification. We've talked about metaphors too. I should say that. Personification is where you take something that is not a person or an inanimate object, something that is not alive. And of course, dogs and cats are alive, so that part doesn't apply here. But you take something that is not a person and you give it qualities that only a person or a human would have. So if you look at dog in bed again, if you look down here where it says, "This is how it is with love. Once invited, it steps gently, circles twice, and takes up as much space as you will give it." This is kind of funny, this version of personification. I'm going to go ahead and add a comment here, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is personification because she's talking about something like an idea. So love. She's personifying love, and she says that it once it's invited, it walks in gently or it steps in gently, circles twice, and takes up as much space as you will give it. So she's comparing the idea of love to her dog and the way that a dog comes in and circles twice and then lays down and is ready to be loved by you. So and take in her case takes up as much space as it possibly can in her bed. So this is personification because love is not something that would normally walk in anywhere, let alone circle twice and then plop down, ready to give attention or get attention. So I'm going to write that this is personification. She is giving the idea of love. Human qualities. I'm going to put dog because this is kind of like dogification, really. So this is personification. She's giving the idea of love or human or dog characteristics and qualities. But basically what she's saying is that her dog is love. So I'm going to go ahead and add that comment. And then I want to talk to you about one more piece of figurative language, similes. Similes are like a cousin to metaphors. They compared to unlike objects, but they do it by saying something is like something else, or it's as fast or as good or whatever as something else. So I'm going to draw your attention here to Dog in Bed, where it says black silk ears. Why should your black silk ears feel like happiness? She is comparing her dog's ears to what happiness feels like. But she does that using this word like. If she said, your black silk ears are as amazing as happiness, that would be a simile too, because she's using as to compare it. So this is a comparison of two unlike things, the dog's ear and the idea of happiness or the feeling of happiness. And she's doing that using the word like or as. So a metaphor says you are this. So if she said your black silk ears are happiness, that would be a metaphor. But she says your black silk ears feel like happiness, that's a simile. So that's why we call them cousins, or that's why I call them cousins, because they're very, very closely related. So I'm going to go ahead and add a comment here, and I'm going to say this is a simile. It is comparing dog ears to happiness. And by saying that, what she's saying is when she pets his soft silk ears, it makes her happy. So I'm going to add that also. Add that. So that brings me to what I want you to do. I want you to go into these poems and add 3 comments on figurative language that you notice. So metaphors, similes, and personification. That's what you're looking for. Please do not use the examples that I use, because that wouldn't be showing me what you can do without my help. I kind of want to know where you're at with this, so do your best. Go in and look for similes, metaphors, or personification into any of the poems. So like if there are some here that I didn't get, you're welcome to go into Dog in Bed, but you can go into any of them or all of them to find me those 3 examples of figurative language. When you're finished with that, you're going to go up here because your comments are already on your work, and you're just going to click Turn In. So let me know if you have any questions or if I can help you in any way. I love and miss you.